Marvel Comics says I'm going to be the new Black Panther. Shuri, they can't be serious. There's no way you could be the Black Panther. I divorced you, and you are no longer a part of the Wakandan bloodline. And if you cannot be a part of the Wakandan bloodline, then there's no way you can be the Black Panther because you cannot even ingest the heart-shaped herb. Well, Marvel Comics doesn't care about lore. All they care about is identity, politics, and social justice. This is why Marvel Comics is whack, 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 whack. And the way they treat the Black Panther is filled with disrespect. I cannot stand them. You stink, Marvel Comics. You stink!
Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. The man who rules the world breaks in a brand new partner to help him take care of business in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Taking Care of Business at paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Marvel Comics has announced that Storm will be the new Black Panther. Where do I start with this one? Now, this revelation of Storm being the new Black Panther is something that comes out of the latest Marvel Comics event, Timeless. Now, in this Timeless event, your Kang the Conqueror is trying to show Dr. Doom how much of a boss he is as related to mastering time. And one of the revelations of the story as related to one of the timelines is supposedly that your Storm is going to become the new Black Panther. Now, when I look at this whole Storm becoming the new Black Panther, it just shows me how the house of ideas is just completely out of ideas altogether. And clearly, this writer just didn't do their research because there's no way that Storm could become the Black Panther. Now, the whole mantle of the Black Panther in Wakanda is supposed to be given to somebody who is a part of the official Wakandan bloodline. Now, that bloodline is supposed to be patriarchal, and this mantle is inherited one of two ways. One, it is inherited by the king passing away and then passing it to his firstborn son, or two, it is inherited by a leader of one of the clans winding up beating the original Black Panther in combat. Now, those are the two ways that someone is supposedly able to become the Black Panther, but I guess this writer is going to come out here with the technicality that, oh, well, Storm was the queen of Wakanda at one time, but as we all know, that your T'Challa wound up divorcing Storm, and with that divorce of Storm, she forfeited all the rights and privileges to ever have anything to do with the Wakandan throne or any sort of inheritance as related to the Wakandan throne. So this whole revelation is nothing more than absolutely bad writing, and it just shows me that this writer clearly has not done any sort of research whatsoever. And it's really sad to see this type of gimmick pushed out here to get all sorts of reactions from people, because it just shows me how bad editorial has become in Marvel Comics and the comic book industry overall. Your editorial is more focused on trying to get all sorts of reactions from these online news sources in the comic book industry and helping them go out here and get clicks for their articles rather than going out here and creating quality stories that go out here and generate sales for Marvel Comics. And that's the saddest part about this latest revelation, is that this is something that everybody sees as nothing more than a gimmick to try to go out here and shock people and get their attention for just a moment, but it's not something that will be a solid part of creating a substantive Black Panther lore in the 2020s. You would think that Marvel Comics would go out here and try to capitalize on the opportunity to build on the audience that was established with the success of Black Panther in 2018. Now, the latest Black Panther comic that was released just a couple of months ago, finally it produces a quality title that allows them to actually capitalize on that momentum. But this revelation is something that could stop that momentum cold dead in its tracks. And that's one of the other big problems with the comic book industry, is that the whole marketing department is so busy trying to shock people that it winds up undermining the success of quality writers like the ones who are currently working on the 2021 Black Panther series that is looking like it's a very rock solid book. Because gimmicks and stunts like this, yes, it will get the attention of the casual crowd on the outside for about 8 or 9 seconds, but all of those regular readers of a comic, they get turned off by this, and many comic fans, they get turned off by these kinds of shock marketing stunts for events that are only going to be a flash in the pan before they are quickly forgotten by many comic fans. I mean, I have a critical question for those people who work at Marvel. How many people remember the last 8 or 9 events that they have announced over the last 4 or 5 years? Because I remember back in the 1980s when events were something that were only done once a year, like Acts of Vengeance. And these events, usually what they did was they got your attention for a moment, and the whole goal of those events was to go out here and sell the weaker selling books and introduce new readers to those weaker selling books, like your Alpha Flights, your Moon Knights, and many other titles that many people would pass up on and not give a try. But these days, what your Marvel does is try to use the events as a way to cover up for the lack of substantive storytelling in most of their comics. And if you had substantive storytelling in your books like you have currently right now, in books like Moon Knight and books like Black Panther, you would actually be able to generate sales because those books would be able to build some word of mouth. Unfortunately, your Marvel doesn't go out here and let these books build word of mouth and build momentum. And because they don't let these books go out here and build word of mouth and build momentum, we get clown show stunts like this one talking about Storm becoming the new Black Panther. And that power set really doesn't really fit the character organically. I mean, Storm controls the weather, and how can that really help out as related to the Black Panther? I mean, the Black Panther is a distinct character, and his power set is distinct only to him. That's one of the things I have an issue with this whole revelation, is that it devalues the Black Panther and prevents him from being distinct, because here we have somebody who already is known for her own distinct power set, putting on the costume of another character. This was an issue I had with the whole Falcon as Captain America, because Falcon is his own distinct character, and he needs to remain his own distinct character, while Captain America needs to remain his own distinct character. When you go out here and you put another character in another character's costume, it devalues that character, and it makes it where people don't see that character as special. They don't see that character as unique. They don't see that character as distinct, and that makes it where readers stop caring about that character. It's like many of these guys at Marvel and comics in general just don't understand those critical questions that screenwriters like myself have to answer. And one of those questions we have to answer before we put fingers to the keyboard is, why should we care? And it's hard to care about a character when anybody can fill their shoes and anybody can put on that costume and become that character. That makes it where the character stops being unique and stops being distinct. And that's something that a good creator is going to go out here and tell editorial, that this kind of stunt, it cheapens a character, and that's not something I would believe a company would want to do when you have a multi-million-dollar movie about to come out featuring said character. I mean, here we have your Black Panther Wakanda Forever getting ready to come out in 2022, I believe, and here we have your Marvel devaluing the Black Panther and devaluing the Black Panther intellectual property. However, I believe that this possibly could be done by design, because I believe that Marvel has been going out of its way to sabotage the success of Black Panther, and they've been trying to undermine the Black Panther property because your Disney, the parent company of Marvel, does not really value the Black Panther intellectual property because they don't want to see the burgeoning African American fantasy and science fiction market grow. And because they don't want to see the burgeoning African American fantasy and science fiction market grow, they go out here and participate in a sabotaging stunt, like going out here and saying Storm is the new Black Panther, and the whole production debacle revolving around Black Panther 2. Now, when I look at this whole, again, revelation, it just shows me how little value they have as related to the Black Panther as an intellectual property. Because, again, to do this months before you're releasing a major motion picture just shows how little value you see in the character, and it just shows how many in editorial they come up with these gimmicks and they don't really think about how to make it synergize so that you can go out here and get those casual readers to come pick up a quality comic. And again, they're not really focusing on building quality stories, because many people at Marvel, they're all about so-called diversity passively, that aggressively goes out here and devalues and undermines black male characters and makes it where those characters are just seen as either tokens or just as one big joke. And again, this whole timeless storyline shows us how there's very little time for Marvel Comics, because what made Marvel Comics timeless was the fact that they always made unique and distinct characters. But this whole timeless storyline with Storm as the Black Panther just shows me how the time is up at Marvel, and how the House of Ideas has just run completely out of ideas, because it's filled with a lot of lost and disconnected people who are all about promoting their own personal agendas and identity politics over quality storytelling. Now, if you want to pick up one of my action-packed African American fantasy fiction stories on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, or the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, you can find one of those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find one of those books on Smashwords, the iBook store, and Google Play. And if you want to see me do more comic-related videos, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Get ready to meet the new Black Panther. How can I meet the new Black Panther? I am the Black Panther. Well, Marvel Comics editorial says I am going to be the new Black Panther. That is not even possible. You are not even a member of the Wakandan royal family anymore. I divorced you. And you couldn't even be a Black Panther because you have to be a part of the royal family as related to the patriarchal bloodline, and you have to either earn it through my death, or you would have to earn it through combat by being one of the tribes. And you do not even qualify for any of that. Don't get mad at me, get mad at Marvel Editorial. Oh, I am really mad at Marvel Editorial. You guys do not even know your own characters. You do not even do any research. You are the worst people who ever run this company. You people are horrible!
Now available in paperback and e-readers, ISIS, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. The goddess next door takes on the threat of a deadly digital diva driven to destroy the world in this action-packed, all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess, featuring a bonus pin-up and the other 2 books in the Cyber Goddess saga at online bookstores everywhere